Hello and welcome to the Strategic Bookkeeper podcast. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about keep in touch marketing. It's what I call kit marketing. I like to say, what's in your marketing kit? This is also about database marketing. I also call it manners marketing and the diamonds at your feet. Lately, when I've been running some events, bookkeepers tell me it's an area that they are neglecting, and yet when I talk to them about it, they can totally see how this could be really powerful for them. And so today I would like to share some examples and some stories and then give you some actionable steps. So without further ado, let's get stuck in.
I'm Jeannie Savage, the Strategic Bookkeeper. I'm an award-winning entrepreneur, author, speaker, trainer and coach. After 13 years in practice and after scaling into a lifestyle business where I could choose my own adventure, I'm sharing my secrets to success, my secret sauce recipe on how to build a thriving practice, delight your clients and ultimately live your dream on your terms. This podcast is a companion to my book. In each weekly episode, I'll share strategies for scaling and success. This is your time to shine, to step up, to become a strategic bookkeeper and enjoy all the benefits it brings to you and your clients.
Okay, let's get stuck into the podcast. So firstly, apologies if I sound a little croaky. Like most of Australia, I am down with various winter colds and COVID and everything else, but feel very fortunate not to have the flu. In fact, last night when I did a COVID and flu test and it was clear and I could see I just had a yucky cold virus, I was jumping for joy. So, yes, if you hear me struggling a little bit, that is why. So now let's jump into one of my absolute favorite marketing strategies, client attraction strategies, just thriving business strategies, fun strategies for bookkeepers to use. And that is what I will always call kit marketing, keep in touch marketing. Podcast interruption. Just to let you know, if you did not join the program when the doors opened on August 1, and they opened for 14 days before my team and I rocked up live, it doesn't mean that you can't join in. The program is evergreen. Okay, so we have a way to bring you into the program seamlessly, beautifully, so that you can absolutely start working with me to build your thriving practice, delight your clients, and live your dream on your terms. If you are keen to know how that works, just drop us an email or ask in the private Facebook group. I'm always really grateful for that because then I can help the many as well as the one. Or simply use the link that will drop in the show notes or go to the website, pretty easy, and jump into the program because two things. Number one, it comes with a money back guarantee, or let's say three things. Number two, I do not get you to spend extra time working with me. This is about on the job. Yes, I've done other podcasts on that. And number three, that money back guarantee, it kicks in after a year, but my expectation is to help you get the ROI really early, so that pays for the program. But yes, we're going to spend a year together. So back to the podcast. My wonderful father always had a saying, and that was, never forget your customers and they'll never forget you. And definitely that has always stayed with me. I think it's really beautiful saying because to me it speaks of nurture. And whenever we use the word marketing, bookkeepers, and I feel the same, it does kind of lend itself to us shutting down a bit, like, oh, marketing, I don't want to do marketing, it feels icky. Whereas when we use the word nurture, that feels totally different. And when we say never forget your customers and they'll never forget you, again, it feels like, yeah, okay, of course I don't want to forget my customers, my clients, whatever label we put on them, right? Because in fact, it's manners to remember the beautiful people that we work with and that we have previously perhaps worked with, that we're not currently working with. And that leads to this word database, right? Because again, that can sound very clinical, yeah? So database and database marketing, it all sounds clinical. But when we strip it right back, this is about the people that are in your kind of network, right? And again, that network, it just sounds like, oh, network, it's such a business word. But what I mean is if you imagine, like imagine me right now, and I'm spreading my little fingers out like tentacles, and I'm kind of thinking about all the different people that I've met in my life and that somehow, in some way, I'm connected to. Yeah? And I could tell you a million ways, and it's going to be a little bit different for you depending on, who you interact with and the kind of person you are. Okay? So most of you know that I'm a Latin dancer. Yeah? So as you can imagine, I've got thousands of Latin dancing friends. That's what it's like in Latin dancing. It's like if you're a dancer and I'm a dancer, we're friends. Yeah? But then thinking about all the people I've come across and interacted with in my life that in some way I'm still connected with thanks to social media, which I know social media is a real double-edged sword. There's a real yucky side to social media, but then there's this beautiful side where, once we used to just lose touch with people and not know where they were, and you would think, oh, I remember that person from high school. I wonder how they're going. Like, I loved that girl or I love that guy. They were so quirky, and I just wonder what's their life like now. And social media gives us the ability to connect with these people, and really that's one of the ways it was set up, right? I believe, I'm not a Facebook expert, but I believe it was set up like an on-campus thing for students to connect. And I think a lot of us have connected with old school friends that way. So now I get to go on social media and I get to look through my friends' profiles and see them, whether they're married with children and they look happy. And one of my friends, I noticed that I was really close to when I was younger, he lives overseas now with his wife and the two beautiful girls. And I will go on and look through and just get so much joy out of connecting with them just online. Okay. So when I talk about database and network, I want you to think people, humans. And I want you to think your kind of humans, the kind of people that you like, the kind of people that you love. Yeah. So kind of taking those clinical words around network and database and really turning it into human interactions. Yeah. The people that in some way, shape or form, you are connected to, which means that they are in your wider network. They are on your database, right? So your database could be your phone, your social media, your email, etc. And if we were to categorize those people, we might say, okay, well, yeah, I've got like old school friends, yeah? So you might say, well, I consider them like old friends. And then you've got so anyone that I connect with in the business world, like let's say 7 years ago I went to a networking event, or 10 years ago, and I've got like networking business buddies, but it's like, well, I don't hang out with them. They're not my friends, but I really like I've kept in touch with them and they're on my database, like they're on my social media, because I do really like them and we connected as humans and we vibed, right? I call these people my business buddies. And please do take all my terminologies and all my labels. If you like them and you're like, oh yeah, I feel like that would work for me too, use them. Yeah, these are my gifts to you. So I have like my business buddies. Then there's kind of like old friends that I know I might never catch up with, but we're still connected and there's still a connection there. Then there's more like your closer friends, people that you talk to more often, Then often there's what I would call your community. So community is it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And communities come from things like churches and hobbies, like my dancing, and sports, like I guess you could call dancing a sport. So sporting groups that you're a part of, anything like that where you come together as a tribe and a community and you connect, and that is like community, okay? So I tend to kind of say business buddies and my dancing buddies and my friends and my old high school friends and my family. And so as you can see, there are many labels. And so when I use that word segmentation, again, it's very clinical, but just think about all the different people you know. When it comes to segmentation of your email database at work, it's probably a little bit more clinical because it does relate to how you can and will serve them. So for example, if I was going to look at everyone on my database and if I was you and I was new to this and I was segmenting, think about the products and services that you currently sell. So who is currently engaged in your products? Like if you have one core product that you sell, which is just bookkeeping, it's like, oh, okay, well, who's getting that on a regular monthly basis? Their clients, yeah, or their, as I call them, VIP clients. And then, okay, well, who's on my business email database that has the potential to be a client, but for whatever reason, they're not right now. So that could be someone you worked with historically that moved on, but you still vibe with them. You like them. If they came back tomorrow and talked to you, you'd consider working with them, right? So they are prospective clients. So the two simplest categories there is your VIP clients and your prospective clients, okay? And I could go into a lot more detail because we have a really great product ladder. So we have core products, which is number 3 on the product ladder. There is podcasts on this as well, but we have core products and then we have succession products. We do break our VIP clients up into more than one category, okay? But there is nothing wrong with a version 1 database and then moving on. So right now I just want to impress upon you that you've got your VIPs and then you've got your PCs. When you read my book, you'll see I use those terminologies. So that is your VIPs are all the clients you service on a regular basis, and your PCs are prospective clients, which is kind of like anyone else who runs a business who's ended up on your database who has the potential to work with you, okay? And just a little side thing there, another great category for your database is accountants. So every accountant that a client has, or even just accountants that you've met at networking events, can go on your category called accountants, okay? And then there's lots more you can do, but we want to keep it simple. And so I might just mention those ones. Next thing I want to do is just talk software. People do ask me, what software, Jeannie? Look, we use a software called ActiveCampaign. There's no right or wrong to software. MailChimp is free and it's brilliant. So there is nothing wrong with getting started with MailChimp as well, okay? But it doesn't matter too much if you've got a software, like you can connect MailChimp to Xero, for example, and so the software component doesn't matter too much. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you a little example of a really simple example of the power of database and what happens, unfortunately, when you are not leveraging database. So the other day I was thinking about my house and a few things that I want to do in the house, as most of us do, right? I thought, I really want to maybe zhuzh up downstairs or do a few things in the house. And a while ago, it was probably 4 years ago, I had someone come and put a new flooring in my bedroom. And the new flooring solution, it was really great. What I loved about this guy is I'd spoken to a few people, and unlike other people, this person vibed with me because he was really bossy. He knew what he was doing. He was a really direct communicator. he listened to me. Like when I said to him, look, I don't actually want choice. I have no interior design gene in my body. I just want you to tell me what I'm doing, what it will cost, and I just want you to turn up and do it. And he said, yep. And he said, 1, 2, 3, this is what you're doing, this is what it'll cost, I'll be here on this date. And I was like, oh, the heavens have opened. And it was brilliant, right? He kept his promises, everything went really well. So the other day I thought, I really would like that guy to come back and do another floor for me. I don't remember who he is. His contact details have gone from my phone. I mean, I don't remember his name anyway, right? So what if he had a simple way to keep in touch with me, even if that was once every 6 months? Usually for businesses like that, I would recommend, say, once a quarter, and it was just a text message that said, hey, Jeannie, Tom here, just saying hi and reminding you I'm available if you need me, right? That is not intrusive. I mean, there are other ways to do it. I love text message for businesses like that, but as a bookkeeper, email can be quite good because we're working, collaborating with business owners that are on the email. But I like both, okay? And I actually like automated and non-automated. Now, that is an example of how if he had a nice basic keep in touch marketing system, he would potentially be creating the following things. So number one, a pipeline of inquiries, yeah, because, and if you've attended any of my events, you'll see I talk about people will buy when they're ready, yeah, but what's important is to keep them in our brand sphere floating around so that they can make the buying decision when they're ready, okay? So that creates a pipeline, because someone like me will buy 4 years later when I'm ready, but if he's doing that with all of his database, you can imagine the multiplier effect, okay? So, and most people find that kind of keep in touch marketing really helpful, which is one of the reasons I call it manners marketing. I believe it is manners to keep in touch with the people that we are seeking to serve. Yeah, because that's what we're all doing. We are seeking to serve, be of service and help. All right. And never, ever do I really get, leave me alone, don't keep in touch with me. And every now and then if somebody does say, would you remove me from your database? I mean, we have links so they can just click and remove themselves too. Then it's not impolite. And once actually it even led to someone explaining how busy they are. And I was able to say, if you're busy, you need me more than ever, like being genuine. And it was a really cool conversation, but I digress. So back to the example of the flooring guy, you can see the impact of if he did have that keep in touch marketing system, he would be serving me much better. I'm frustrated that he doesn't keep in touch, right? Because now I need to go back to square one and deal with people that are going to frustrate me and, or start searching through Google in the hope that I stumble across him. Nightmare, right? Whereas if he was just politely keeping in touch with me, then it would be serving me. So the other thing it does, as well as a pipeline of leads, it creates word of mouth marketing. So here's what happens. So let's say he was contacting me once every 3-4 months, right? So 2, 3, 4 times a year. And I got the message. I might say to a girlfriend, just got this message off the guy that did my flooring. He's so amazing. You said that you were doing your flooring, and I'll recommend him. So it can create advocacy for your services and your brand. Okay. So, absolutely. And if you've read my book or you read my book, you'll see I talk about advocacy marketing being your number one marketing strategy that I want you to focus on. And keep in touch marketing will absolutely create advocacy for your brand. It will create people in the market talking about you. Okay, talking about, how valuable you are. And you don't even know this is going on. Okay, so this is the funny thing about marketing is when you have the layers and you have your tentacles out there in this beautiful, authentic way, which is not really marketing, right? Like I say, it's about manners and staying connected to people, people will be talking about you behind your back and saying lovely things that will lead to somebody else reaching out to you that you didn't even know, and therein filling your pipeline of leads. Okay. So this week I've had a few people reach out. Hey, Jeannie, I really need a bookkeeper. Can you help me? That's what happens. And this is the result. The ones that I've had lately, it's just simply the results of keep in touch marketing, layered with the other pieces that I talk about in my book, which is, for example, they can see my profile, they can read about results-based marketing and more. Okay, so that's all in my book, and that's really easy to do. I give you a linear process for getting that all sorted and ready, but right now this is just about the keep in touch marketing component. Okay, now that I've told you about that, and in the interest of keeping this podcast short and sweet, I will just share story or two that's related to me and my bookkeeping practice to inspire you. So literally I have jumped on to do this podcast immediately after talking to someone who is a past client. So we served them, goodness, I would say it's like 7 years ago, a long time ago, right? And we're still connected on Facebook. They're probably still on my email database. Maybe not, right? But we kind of do a lot across both platforms. Actually, they reached out to me a year or so ago and just talked to me about bookkeeping, but again, didn't go ahead again then. But they're in my brand sphere and they're floating around. Now, we will never know the full impact of the various things that we do in this space. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. This particular prospective client now, so she was once a client, she's now a prospective client, let's call her Sally. So she can see me on social media. If I win an award, I will sometimes, not all the time, but or be nominated for an award, I might share it on socials and just say, hey, celebrate with me. It'll be nothing, it won't be business-like. It'll be very genuine, just yay me, celebrate. Whereas on my business socials, it'll be more professional and bigger and grander because that's the more appropriate place, I believe, for it, right? But I will share it across both. So she might be following my business socials as well as my personal socials. And basically, she knows that we vibe, like I'm the kind of person she'd like to work with, right? She feels like this is someone I know, like, and trust. Then she can see this is also someone who's at the top of her game in her industry. All indications are that if I was to work with her again, it's going to be easier and better than if I went out and tried to find someone else. Now, in the meantime, who knows? She might have gone and tried someone else as well. And I remember my father saying that some of his competitors were his best advertising, right? So, this is the power of keep in touch marketing. Even when people go elsewhere, which actually a past client has just re-signed with us after going elsewhere, it's okay. These things will happen from time to time. And we don't need to be in total control of it all. But if we're using this beautiful keep in touch marketing system, they will often come back to us. Yeah, I'm never emotional when someone leaves me. I'm very authentic, and if I think they're making the wrong decision, I'll tell them. That said, if they are a little bit outgrowing us, we also offer in-house recruitment services, something you can do too. The moral of the story there is right before I recorded this podcast, there is the keep in touch working, okay? Last night I was on the phone for quite a while to someone that I only met once, but we're connected on Facebook. Look, I love to connect with people. So when I meet someone and we get along, I guess I'm used to doing it at dancing. I'll be like, yay, let's Facebook connect. And then they're in my network. And then I didn't realize he kind of owns a business. And so this is about 4 or 5 years later. Yeah, he's contacted me and we had a great chat last night. Great, just so much fun. And he's, yes, Jeannie, I'm going to work with you. Absolutely. Send me a proposal tomorrow. Let's work together. Keep in touch marketing. All I'm doing is keeping in touch with the people that are in my network, connected to me some way, And that's what happens. And it was only the day before that the same thing happened, okay? Someone reached out to me that I connected with. Actually, I've known him through a family connection probably a very long time, but I don't know him that well, but he knows my family. But we connected on socials at some point some years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, probably 6 years ago. We had a quick chat on socials. 6 years later, he's asked for a proposal for bookkeeping, okay? So keep in touch marketing and the diamonds at your feet is so powerful. Let's talk about how you can take action. As I've shared lots with you, and in terms of taking action, you're going to take small action, one step at a time, okay? And you're going to give yourself a lap around the sun. This is a gift that will keep on giving, okay? So it's okay to take time to do this. So the first thing I'd like you to do, rather than think about, oh my goodness, I've got to go into my Xero or QuickBooks or my file and bring all my database across to a software. I don't have time for that, whatever. Here's what I want you to do first, and I've talked about this in my events. I want you right now to think about a past client, or an inactive client that you've worked with before, and for whatever reason they are not engaged in regular work right now. So picture them in your mind. You might come up with 1, 2, or 3. That's fine. Write them down. Picture them in your mind, Then I would like you to reach out to them with a simple text message, okay? And I'll script that for you now. I do this quite regularly. I love doing this because I love everyone in my network. So, of course, I'm going to reach out and say, hey, what's up? What's happening? So I want you to reach out to them, and I'm going to do this script on the fly, even though I do them all the time, right? And I will let you know right now that in the Strategic Bookkeeper Transformation Program, all the scripts and messaging, like all the keep in touch assets, so we talk about assets and strategies and resources, it's all done for you, okay? So join the program. It's going to be phenomenal, and I want everyone in there. Okay, so back to the scripting. I'd like you to reach out to a past client, and we're going to, just for this exercise, call him Tom, and your name's going to be Sally, right? So, hi Tom, Sally here from Sally's Bookkeeping. You just popped into my head. I just thought of you, and I was wondering, how's everything going? So that is one example of a message you can send. It can depend on the past client. Like I had one past client, and it wasn't that long since we dealt with her, and so I totally know her situation. So the message was a bit more bespoke to her. But that is one message that you can send, like just how's everything going, If you've recently done a catch-up but you haven't heard from them in 3 to 6 months, you can say, are you still up to date? Because if you're not, can you give me a call? Because I really, really want to make sure that you stay up to date. You're not selling your services. You're seeking to understand, which is manners marketing. So that is one basic way that you can get started. I am going to look at running a free training around building and maintaining and using your database, okay? So it will be a great follow-on from this, because I don't want to keep rattling on and telling you more. I feel like I've given you lots. You can listen to this over and over. And if you really want to fast track and get a lot of done for you stuff, the program's there, right? But the book's got heaps in it on database as well. What I hope you take from this podcast is the wow moments and the aha moments and the absolute 100% belief that hit marketing is a beautiful, beautiful manners-based strategy for you to use. And in fact, I often use the word as a phrase, as a courtesy when I reach out to people, like hi, this is Jeannie, I'm touching base as a courtesy. Again, use every word I've given you. Use that as a script. I'm reaching out as a courtesy to check in, see how everything's going. The response I get from that's phenomenal. Okay, I got one last week. Perfect timing, Jeannie. This is about 4 or 5 months after I first spoke to this person. Yes, great, moving ahead. I'll speak to him again today, and I will help him with what moving ahead looks like, okay? But this is just the most beautiful strategy for bookkeepers, because it just requires you to keep in touch with people and to nurture them, okay? Look forward to hearing how you go with all of this. hopefully in the Strategic Bookkeepers Way Facebook, so that we can share it with the whole tribe and we can all benefit from working and growing together.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have a question you'd like answered on my podcast, please email me hello@thestrategicbookkeeper.global. Did you know we have a private Facebook group called the Strategic Bookkeepers Way? There you'll find bookkeepers just like you on the same journey where you can ask questions and get support. You can find more resources and how to work with me at thestrategicbookkeeper.global. All the links are in the show notes. Have a prosperous week and I'll see you in the next episode.